You may not realize it, but your birthday marks how many times you've gone around the sun since you've been born. If you're 6 years old, that means you've gone around 6 times. During its orbit, the Earth is sometimes close to the sun and sometimes farther away from it. When we are close, it is warm. When far away, it is colder. This is what gives us the 4 seasons: autumn, winter, spring, and summer. If you live near the center of the Earth, the changes in climate between the seasons are small. The farther north or south you go, the changes are more extreme. In many places during autumn, the leaves change colors and start to fall from the trees as they prepare for the snows of winter. In the winter, the days are short and cold. When we start to see flowers blooming, we know that spring is here and the warmer weather of summer is just around the corner. Artists from different times and cultures have been inspired by the 4 seasons. Sometimes the seasons are depicted in a representational way in the form of a scene where the weather tells us which season it is. Other times the seasons are shown as symbols for the cycle or spirit of life. Artists sometimes use abstraction to interpret the feelings they have at different times of year. In any case, art about the seasons is as varied as the seasons themselves. Throughout history, artists have tried to show the distinct characteristics of each season in the location where they lived. They have tried to capture the specific light of a certain time of year and how it affects the brightness or dullness of the surrounding color. The forms of nature will be different in each season, and artists study these differences carefully. The activities that people do and how they interact with each other is influenced by each season. Since artists are keen observers of life, they work hard to find ways of expressing their observations in their art. Stanford professor Elliot Eisner has said that art is a way to express those feelings or ideas about life that cannot be expressed with words or numbers. Whether by using realism or abstraction, artists create work that help people see aspects of the world they may not have considered or appreciated before. If we learn how to read visual language, art can help us to understand our world. This art invites us to slow down and think about the things we might not have time for in our busy lives. Contemporary artists continue to be inspired by the seasons. Andy Goldsworthy is known as an environmental artist. He uses materials he finds on the land and arranges it in new and interesting ways. He uses whatever the seasons provide for him, from leaves and twigs to ice and stone. His work is temporary and changes as weather and time affect it. Unless you know where Andy's art is, or are lucky enough to stumble across it while out on a hike, the only way you can see it is in photographs. Simon Beck was originally an engineer and map maker. While on a skiing trip, he decided to try making a drawing in a flat area of snow. He realized that this was a form of drawing no one had really done before, and began to make it his full-time job. He uses a ski pole and snowshoes to carefully craft the image he has in his head. It sometimes takes days, and he sometimes walks more than 25 miles to complete one of his snow drawings. It takes thousands of flowers to make the art of Louise Law. She takes these flowers and fills large spaces with them, often hanging them from ceilings or walls. This type of art is called installation art. Unlike a painting or sculpture, installation art is when an artist changes a space, making the experience of the whole space the art. Rebecca's installations change over time as the flowers begin to wither and die. For her, this represents the cycle of life and mimics the changes that take place during the seasons. Most people love to get outdoors and play in the warm weather of the summer. Carole Feuerman is inspired by the sense of freedom and physical activity. Her sculptures are made in a style known as hyper-realism. They are usually made of resin or bronze and are hand-painted. If you look closely at them, you will see that Carole puts in all the small details of real life, like strands of hair or droplets of water. Her sculptures express the lazy and fun days of summer quite well. The work of these 4 artists takes a lot of patience and care to make. They are not only inspired by the seasons, but work with the seasons to make their art.